Loneliness is a complex and often deeply misunderstood emotion. It can feel like a gnawing emptiness, as if there's an invisible wall separating you from the world around you. The strange part about loneliness is that it doesn't necessarily stem from a lack of people in your life. You can be surrounded by friends, family and colleagues, yet still feel isolated and disconnected. This internal void is often less about the physical presence of others and more about a disconnection from meaningful emotional connections, both with others and, more importantly, with yourself. Overcoming loneliness requires more than just filling your life with people or distractions. It requires cultivating meaningful connections that nourish your soul. And in the process, rediscovering the richness of your own inner world. One of the first steps to overcoming loneliness is realizing that it is not a failure on your part. Society tends to glorify social connections, and we are bombarded with images of people who seem to be surrounded by close-knit groups, exuding happiness and fulfillment. The truth is, many people experience loneliness at some point in their lives, and it's not a reflection of your worth or your ability to connect. Loneliness, in a way, can be seen as a signal that something within you is longing to be nurtured. The feeling of isolation is not always about the absence of others. It's often about an inner void that needs attention, healing, and understanding. Recognizing this allows you to shift your focus from seeking external solutions to addressing the internal factors contributing to your loneliness. A powerful and often overlooked aspect of loneliness is the relationship you have with yourself. Many people don't realize how pivotal self-connection is to overcoming feelings of isolation. When you are disconnected from your own emotions, desires, and needs, you are more likely to feel detached from others, even if they are physically present in your life. It's like trying to engage with the world from a hollow shell, unsure of who you are and what you need. The process of healing loneliness begins by building a deeper relationship with yourself, by learning to sit with your own thoughts and emotions without judgment. This involves an honest exploration of what you truly need in your relationships, not just from others, but from yourself. Are you giving yourself the compassion, love, and understanding you so deeply crave from others? Often, we place unrealistic expectations on the people in our lives to fill the emotional gaps we haven't yet addressed within ourselves. To foster self-connection, it's important to embrace solitude rather than fear it. Solitude, when approached with intention, can become a sanctuary for growth and self-discovery. It's an opportunity to engage in activities that are meaningful to you, not just because they keep you busy, but because they help you connect with the deeper parts of your true self. When you learn to enjoy your own company, you stop relying on external validation to feel complete. You start to build a stronger sense of identity that isn't dependent on the presence of others. Solitude, in this sense, becomes an act of empowerment. It is a time to reflect on what you want, what matters to you, and how you can cultivate a life that resonates with your values, even if others are not immediately present. However, building a meaningful connection with yourself doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't mean isolating yourself further. It's about finding a balance, learning how to be comfortable with yourself, while also opening yourself up to authentic connections with others. One of the most profound ways to do this is by shifting the way you approach relationships. Too often, loneliness is exacerbated by the pressure we place on ourselves to find the right people who will solve our feelings of isolation. But this mindset only intensifies the loneliness because it turns connection into a desperate quest for something outside of yourself. Instead of seeking people to fill a void, focus on cultivating connections based on shared values, vulnerability, and authenticity. When you approach relationships from a place of fullness rather than lack, you attract people who resonate with your true self, not the version of you that's trying to avoid loneliness. Meaningful connections are not necessarily about having a large social circle or being constantly surrounded by people. It's about depth, not quantity. Take small steps toward reaching out to others in ways that feel natural and genuine to you. Start by seeking out individuals or communities where you feel comfortable being yourself. whether that's through shared interests, common goals, or a mutual understanding of life's complexities. Engage in conversations where you can express yourself honestly, without the need to perform or pretend. This might feel intimidating at first, especially if you've been holding back for fear of judgment or rejection. But vulnerability is the key to forming deeper connections. When you allow yourself to be seen for who you truly are, you create space for others to do the same. Authenticity breeds connection, and it's in these honest exchanges that loneliness begins to dissolve. At the same time, it's important to recognize that meaningful connections take time to build. You won't necessarily form deep bonds overnight, and that's okay. What matters is the quality of the effort you put into these interactions. Show genuine interest in others, be present when you're with them, and listen with empathy. Rather than focusing on what you can gain from the relationship, consider what you can offer. Often, the act of giving, whether it's your time, attention, or support, creates a sense of fulfillment that counters the feelings of loneliness. When you contribute to someone else's well-being, you begin to realize that connection is not just about what others can do for you, but about the shared experiences that bring you both closer. It's also crucial to be patient with yourself during this process. Overcoming loneliness and building meaningful connections is not a linear path, and there will be times when you may feel discouraged or uncertain. You might reach out to others and not receive the response you hoped for. You might take a risk and open up to someone, only to feel misunderstood. But these moments are not setbacks. They are part of the journey toward deeper connection. Each step you take, whether it feels successful or not, is a step toward greater self-awareness and emotional resilience. Trust that with time and continued effort, the right connections will form, and they will be far more rewarding than anything that could have been forced or rushed. Another important aspect of overcoming loneliness is learning to let go of the need for perfection in relationships. Sometimes we hold back from connecting with others because we fear we won't measure up, or because we're afraid of being rejected for not being enough. But no one is perfect, and waiting until you feel complete to reach out to others will only keep you stuck in isolation. Meaningful connections are not built on perfection. They're built on shared humanity. Embrace the imperfections in yourself and in others, and allow those imperfections to be the foundation for genuine connection. When you release the need to be perfect, you create space for real, raw, and honest relationships to flourish. It's also essential to recognize the importance of boundaries in relationships. While loneliness might make you feel like you should accept any form of connection, it's important to ensure that the connections you form are healthy and supportive. Boundaries allow you to protect your emotional well-being and maintain a sense of self within your relationships. They help you avoid falling into codependency or relying too heavily on others for validation. When you establish clear boundaries, you create space for mutual respect and understanding, which are the cornerstones of meaningful connection. Healthy relationships are built on a foundation of balance, where both parties feel valued, respected, and free to be themselves. Ultimately, overcoming loneliness is not about erasing the feeling altogether, but about transforming it into an opportunity for growth, self-discovery, and connection. Loneliness, when approached with compassion and curiosity, can be a gateway to deeper understanding, both of yourself and the people around you. It invites you to question the assumptions you've made about yourself and others, and to explore new ways of relating to the world. It encourages you to take small but meaningful steps toward building connections that truly matter, and in doing so, it empowers you to reclaim your sense of belonging. As you navigate through this journey, remember that you are not alone in your experience. Many people, at one point or another, have faced the same feelings of isolation, the same longing for connection. The path to overcoming loneliness is not about seeking perfection, rushing into relationships, or filling your life with people who don't truly understand you. It's about embracing your authentic self, opening up to vulnerability, and building relationships that are based on mutual understanding, respect, and care. With time, patience, and self-compassion, you can transform loneliness into a catalyst for meaningful connection and a deeper, more fulfilling relationship with yourself and the world around you.